And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Sidney for tonight's boys varsity football matchup in the Cowboys home finale against the St. My name's Kellen Rose. I'll be commentating tonight's game. And we're about 7 minutes from kickoff. It's a little chilly down there, so if you're watching from home, you probably made the right decision. It's going to continue to get colder and colder. I might freeze to death by the time we get out of here. And as I said, it's the home finale, which means it's senior night. And that means that we've got some seniors for football and cheerleading as well. Your football seniors are Jeremiah Ballin, Taylor McPhail, Lincoln Osborne, Nicholas Peters, Kurt Speed, and Chase Wallace. And your cheerleaders are Victoria Eaton, Madison Hammonds, Cadence Moore, and Grace Zach. So the Cowboys and the Falcons both looking to get another win tacked on here after rough seasons thus far.
Years ago, the Sidney Cowboys football team started a tradition in honoring a veteran or active military service man or woman, as well as public service personnel. For every home football game, they present these honorable folks with a flag in honor of their services. The Cowboys are continuing that tradition this evening by honoring Vietnam veteran Tom Van Syhock. Sergeant E5 Tom Van Syhock of the United States Army was in the 3rd Battalion, 68th Armor Division in 1970 through 1972, where he was a Army personnel carrier. Tom was also a 1966 graduate of Sidney High School and a member of one of the largest classes for that era with 48 students. After his time in high school and in the service, Tom came back to Southwest Iowa and worked jobs for farm master, making gates, and then Neely Services building grain bins before landing at Eaton Transmission for 32 years as an assembly worker. While doing all these jobs, Tom also started his own successful business as an auctioneer that he has done for 57 years and still going strong. He currently resides in Sidney. At this time, would you please stand to help the Sidney Cowboys in honoring Vietnam veteran Tom Van Syhock. If everyone would please remain standing at this time, we will have the playing of our national anthem by the Sidney High School Band, led by Nicole Zavadil. Now the starting offensive line for the St. Albert's Falcons is Council Bluffs. A running back, number 2, Sam Gubble. A running back, number 6, Tony Bush. A wide receiver, number 5, Don Helton. A running back, number 8, Luke Weddingale. Quarterback, number 13, Owen Marshall. Tight end, number 31, Matt Holliday. An offensive lineman, number 52, Gavin Somerville. Offensive lineman, number 53, Brandon McCall. An offensive lineman, number 55, Cale Hobbs. Offensive lineman, number 56, Jaden Beckman. And number 57, an offensive lineman, Sawyer Sheffield. now the starting defense for your hometown Sidney Cowboys. Number 6, Michael Hensley. Number 10, Braden Guthrie. Number 14, Chase Wallace. Number 16, Jeremiah Ballin. Number 24, Cole Payne. Number 22, Eli Van Rennet. Number 32, Lincoln Osborne. Number 54, Mason Doble. Number 57, Kurt Speed. And number 78, Nick Peters. The Cowboys are coached by head coach Sean Thompson, assistant coaches Luke Butchery, Aaron Lang, Randy Albright, and Sergio Rodriguez.
And so here we are, ladies and gentlemen. If you're just tuning in, I'm Kellen Rose, commentating tonight's game between your Sidney Cowboys and the St. Albert Falcons. Senior night here in Sidney. Seniors for the Cowboys: Jeremiah Ballin, Taylor McPhail, Lincoln Osborne, Nicholas Peters, Kurt Speed, and Chase Wallace, all of whom are active, except for Taylor McPhail, who suffered an injury against Earlham earlier in the season. So it's a very winnable game for both teams, and hopefully it's a good contest and provides entertainment and a Cowboy victory for you guys watching at home. Sidney got off to the year with a good start, getting the win against Wayne here in Sidney, but since then have been rough treading ever since and have yet to find another victory since. They're looking to right the ship tonight, change things, turn things around as they close out the season here.
The officials for tonight's game is referee Jim Tokum, umpire Jerry Rye, linesman Ben Watts, line judge Wayne Grudel, and back judge Matt Ray. I have to say thank you for our chain game for the whole season here at home, Chef Johnson and crew.
So we're just waiting for things to get started here. A little bit of dead time, but in the next minute or so we're going to be kicking things off. Cowboys look to be ready, so does St. Albert. And as I said once before, hopefully it is a good contest. The Cowboys are going to be led by a quarterback who is a sophomore, and his name's Andreas Butchery. On the year, he's 29 for 54, 230 yards, and he averages about 8 yards of completion, which goes to show you just got to get. He completes that pass, and it's going to turn into a big play as the Cowboys got some playmakers that can extend the plays and give you that yak. That means yards after catch. And so kicking things off here for the Cowboys is going to be the junior, number 1, Elliott Ward. We've got 2 return men back there for St. Albert's. And here we go, folks. Cowboy football. Kicking off once again. And it's going to be kicked, and it's a good kick. It's going to return by one of those back return men there. It's going to be number 2, Sam Gubbles, and he's going to go off to the races, and he's going to be spotted down at the 50-yard line about. So a great start here for St. Albert's. Gives him excellent field position off of the kick return. And the Cowboy coaches are telling their team, all right, it's time to lock in. So there's a penalty on the field, which is why the ball's being brought back to the 35-yard line. But nonetheless, here it is, St. Albert. Got trips right here, 2 backs, 1 to each of the quarterback. He's going to get the snap, look right. It's going to be a little bubble screen there to number 8, Luke Wedengold, and he's going to be wrapped up and brought down shortly after the play by number 10, the sophomore Braden Godfried. So a design little smoke screen for him there. He's going to spot the ball on the right hash at about the 40-yard line. It's going to be a pickup about 4 or 5. It'll bring up a 2nd and 4 or 5. So here we go. We got an I formation for the sophomore Owen Marshall, who's at the helm here for the Falcons. And the ball is down. And the ball is going to be carried there by the return man for the St. Albert Falcons, who got him in the field position they have now. Number 2, a senior, Sam Gubbles. And it was just a miscommunication there on the snap and hold to get it through. So nonetheless, Cowboys get a break there, and that's going to be a 3rd and about 5. So here we go. We got another I formation with 2 receivers left. And Marshall gets the snap. It goes on 2, and it's going to go to Gubbles. He's going to be brought down short of the marker by about a yard, and it's going to be a dicey situation here for St. Albert's. Let's see if they punt the ball. And we've got an injured player down here for the Cowboys. Appears to be number 14, Chase Wallace, is a little shaken up. The trainers will tend to him. We'll be back shortly. And so here we are. 4th and 1. St. Albert appears to be going for it. They're in the I. They got receivers left and right. It's going to be a fullback dive, and he's got it and more. So a good play call there by St. Albert. Just give it to the 2 back there and let him carry it for about 3 or 4 yards. And so that's going to set up a 1st and 10 as they move the chains at about the 48-yard line. Mason Doval for the Cowboys looked to be the one who would brought him down, assisted by some other Cowboys. So here's Marshall. He's got a pistol set now with receivers wide left and right. And we got a false start there.
False start would be the call against the Falcons.
As the tight end there just jumped out of the gates.
Just a reminder to senior parents.
So that gives the Cowboys a little bit of a cushion here. They need 5 yards to get back to the original line to gain. So it's going to bring up a 1st and 15 from about the 44, 43-yard line. So I think we're going to have the same play coming here. We got the same set. Here's Marshall. He gets a snap. It's going to be a little option play. He gives it off to the running back, and he's going to pick up a couple yards, but he's going to be stopped short of the 50-yard line. Senior Nick Peters, I believe was the one who brought him down there. And so that's going to bring him about a 2nd and 8 here. St. Albert ran a little bit of a speed option there. Good decision by Marshall to pitch it off. And got a nice gain of 7. Do that every time. You're going to be moving the chains frequently. So we got a pistol set now. Trips left. Gubbles is straight behind him. He's got another running back to his left. He gets a snap. It's going to be the same play that we saw earlier, but set for the left side there. And the ball's loose, and the Cowboys got it. Godfried on the forced fumble there. Big time play for Sidney. as he was able to obtain possession of the ball, make a football move. Therefore, it will not be ruled an incomplete pass. It wasn't even a question. And the ball was loose. The Cowboys recovered, and now they're going to take over from about midfield.
Cowboys take over 1st and 10 from their own 47-yard line.
And so here we are. We got Buttry. He is back in a pistol set. Van Rinnen's going to motion over to the left side. He's going to get an empty backfield off of this. He's going to drop back, fire across the middle to Gottfried, and he goes up and mosses him, and there goes Gottfried. 20, 10, 5. And what a start there for Sidney. Straight drop for Buttry, fires one deep across the middle on a little post route that Gottfried had, and he goes up and just grabs it, uses that tall frame of his to use his body as an advantage, goes up, gets it, and gets some more yak afterwards, and the Cowboys got a 1st and goal. Straight out of the gates there for the offense. Couldn't ask for a better start offensively. And the momentum is creeping over to the Cowboys now as they just got the forced fumble and turned that over into about a 40-yard gain. So here's Buttry, I formation, 2 receivers left. He's going to get the snap. It's going to be a handoff there to Ballin, and he's not going to be into the end zone, but he'll pick up a yard or two before.
Ballin on the carry, comes up short.
And we've got a flag down. I believe there was a false start on the Cowboys. So an unfortunate turn of events for the Cowboys there. I believe that calls for a replay down.
Procedure called against the Cowboys.
And so here it is. Pistol set here for Buttry. He's got Van Rinnen to his right, and Ballard who's going to get the pitch. He's cutting it outside. He's not going to have much. He's going to be brought out of bounds and will barely, if not, get back to the line to gain.
Ballard on the carry. Tackle made by number 31, Holiday.
Ballard looking to cut it upfield, but just couldn't find anything there. So he had to take it to the outside, and he was lucky to get back to the line of gain. So that's going to bring up a 2nd and goal here for the Cowboys. And so here it is for the Cowboys. Buttry's got the snap. Straight drop for him. He's got some time in the pocket. He's going to roll right, look, and fire. And it's going to be intended for Gottfried, who got the big play earlier, but it's going to fall incomplete, and that's going to bring up a 3rd and 10. So Buttry had time, but there was nothing open. He even extended the play, rolling out to his right. Gottfried coming back in the end zone over on a little crosser, but it just wasn't enough. And he was blanketed there by the coverage. Good defense there by St. Albert, which forces a 3rd and long here.
Watch the slant! Watch the slant!
So pistol set here for Buttry. He gets the snap. He's looking left. He's going to fire there to Van Rinnen, who is intended for. Van Rinnen ran a wheel route there out of the backfield, but it's going to fall incomplete, and we've got a 4th and 10 now for the Cowboys. And I think they're going to go for it here as Taylor McPhail going down, who is their kicker. Not sure if they have somebody in place of him that they're confident in enough to take the field goal here.
Holiday, watch the slant!
And so here it is. We got trips right. Gottfried is wide left. I'd be surprised here if Buttry didn't look Gottfried's way. He's got single coverage. He is. He's going to fire, and it's going to be long. And we'll see if they called an interception. That's going to be whether or not they get an extra 10 yards, as it'll be called a touchback if he does pick it off. And so it's intercepted by the Falcons, and even though it would have been a turnover on downs, the discrepancy there is St. Albert's going to gain, and they're going to net 10 yards off that, because instead of it being from the St. Albert 10, it's going to be from their 20 because he catched it, fell in the end zone, which results in a touchback. So an unfortunate turn of events there for the Cowboys. They got the big play on the first play of their drive from about midfield, went all the way down the field, and then got 4 chances on inside 10 yards in the red zone and just couldn't capitalize. So St. Albert catches a break there at 0-0, and Marshall's got the snap from their own 20. It's going to be a handoff to Gubbles there. He's going to cut it upfield. And he's going to be brought down there by a handful of Cowboys, including Colt Payne and Chase Wallace.
Gain of 7 on the play, bring up 2nd down and 3.
And so another 7-8 yard gain here for St. Albert. And that's going to bring up a 2nd and short with about 5:30 left. Here's Marshall in the eye. Getting the snap is going to be a direct handoff to the fullback. We saw that on 4th and 1 earlier, and he's going to carry it all the way to the St. Albert 40-41. Moves the chains, picks up the first down. And so here it is, the I formation. We got a receiver left who's coming in motion to the slot, and we've got a false start here on one of the offensive linemen for St. Albert's, I believe. That is the call. Appeared to be number 56, Jaden Beckman. Called for the false start there for the Falcons. It's going to give the Cowboys another break here, push them back 5 yards and make it a 1st and 15 as we crack the 5-minute mark in the first. So here we are. Pistol set for Marshall. It's going to be a play action here. Excuse me, it'll be a little read option, and he's going to be met past the line of scrimmage just a little.
Marshall on the carry. There is a flag on the play. Tackle made by Godfrey.
Godfrey on the tackle, but there's a flag on the play, and the St. Albert sidelines cheering, which makes me believe it's against the Cowboys.
Personal foul is going to be the call.
So a personal foul on Godfrey, who was the one to make a tackle. So that's a big-time penalty there for St. Albert, which is going to push it ahead, I think, 15 yards, which even if it wouldn't have been enough for a first down, that results in an automatic first down due to the fact it's a personal foul. So we go from one half of the field to now the Cowboy half, and they're going to have it 1st and 10 from about the Cowboy 48. So I formation here, 2 receivers bunched around right. It's going to be a pitch there to Gubbles, and he's going to cut it upfield. Going to be met there by the secondary. But he's going to pick up not enough for a first down, but it's going to be close. And that'll bring up a 2nd and 1 now. So Sidney faces a 2nd and short, and it's going to be up to that front 5 is what you're going to see now. And a big-time play there, as you can see there. Coach Lang, the defensive coordinator there for the Cowboys, called a blitz. That Mike linebacker came in hot and pushed them back behind the line of scrimmage. So that's going to bring up now, instead of it being a 3rd and 1, even if they're met at the line of scrimmage, about a 3rd and 2.
No gain on the play.
So let's see if that defensive line for Sidney can make one more push and bring it to a 4th down. I formation here for Marshall. Receiver comes in motion, and we've got a blown Ball blown dead as
Offside's going to be a call against the Cowboys.
Cowboys called for jumping offsides there. Can't definitively say who the penalty was on there, but it was one of the interior linemen for the Cowboys. Nonetheless, that moves the chains, gives them a first down, and they'll have it 1st and 10 from about the 35-yard line as we crack now the 3-minute mark in the first. And so Marshall's got a straight drop. Van Ryn almost had him in the backfield. Marshall's going to elect to keep it and cut it upfield. He's got a first down and more. There goes Marshall down the St. Albert sideline, and he's going to be brought down not before he gets about 15, 20 yards. Godfrey was the one who's going to be the one to bring him down there, assisted by Ballin. So that's a first down for St. Albert. Good job there by Marshall to evade the pressure. He had a man coming free at him, shaked him off, cut up to the left side of the field, and got a first down and more. So it's going to be 1st and 10 from the Cowboys 17 as they crack the red zone now. So I formation here. We got trips right there for him. It's going to be a pitch to Gubbles. He's going to cut it upfield. But Sidney is there and ready. Hensley was the one who forced him to come inside where he met some more Cowboys to bring him down, and that'll bring up a second and about the same yardage that they had before, maybe give him a yard.
Kurt Speed also on the stop for the Cowboys.
Put your hands up. You can't do that. Again, Speedy. You got this, Red.
False start will be the call against the Falcons.
So the clock's going to start rolling again. We've got 2nd and 14 from the 22-yard line. If you're just tuning in, my name's Kellen Rose. I'm commentating tonight's varsity matchup on senior night for Sidney as they take on the St. Albert Falcons. Owen Marshall, the sophomore quarterback for the Falcons, has got it in a pistol set. The guy to his left motions out to the left. Pump fakes left. It's going to be a screen pass intended for Gubbles across the middle. Had some blockers, but the pass is going to fall incomplete and bring up a 3rd and long now. And Sidney is going to be able to get the chance here to get a stop. So at this level of high school football, when you're in the red zone, typically that's 4-down territory. You don't have, not many teams you see around here have field goal kickers. So if you're St. Albert, take it as that. All you need is just 7 yards here, and that cracks your distance in half. Gives you the advantage and the ability to convert on that 4th down if you could do it the down before. So Marshall's got 2 receivers wide to the left and right. It's going to be a speed option. We saw this earlier. He's going to pitch it to Gubbles. And he's got room to work with, and there he goes down the sideline. Clock will stay running. I'm not sure where it's going to be spotted. And the chains are moved. 1st down, St. Albert. So as I mentioned just a second ago, no need to pass the ball there as you're in 4-down territory. Treat it as a 2nd down. So there they go. They run the ball, run a little speed option headed left. Marshall makes the right decision to pitch it to Gubbles, and they pick up the 1st down, and they're 6 yards away from getting their first points on the board. So there's Marshall. It's going to be a handoff to Gubbles, and he's going to be met at the line of scrimmage and brought down. Won't gain much, maybe a yard.
Tackle made by Wallace and Dole for the Cowboys.
Chase Wallace, a senior, and Mason Doval, a sophomore, the 2 players there for the Cowboys to bring him down. And so here is Marshall. under center. He's going to hand it off there to Gubbles. He's going to cut up field, reach to the pylon, and he's in. Touchdown, St. Albert. That extra stretch there from Gubbles there is able to get them past the pylon, and that's all the ball has to do is just go past the line right there. And it was in. Touchdown, St. Albert. And they will try the extra point here. And the extra point is up. It's low, and it's barely good.
Falcons 7, Cowboys 0.
Whether it was high and way in there or low and barely in there, it's still going to amount to the same points there. So it's 7-0. St. Albert leads this thing. Sidney is looking to respond after a failed first drive there that got them inside the 10-yard line, and they weren't able to capitalize, given 4 downs. So we've got 16 seconds left in the first. Sidney trails 7-0. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back.
Early to take it away for the Falcons. Hensley and Ballin back deep for the Cowboys to receive.
And so here we are with 16 seconds left in the first quarter. St. Albert kicks things off back to Sidney as they had a long drive that resulted in a touchdown. Ballin, the senior's got the return. He's cutting it outside. Flag is down. So whatever Ballin gets here is probably not going to matter, unfortunately. But it was a good return there by Ballin. Gets into about midfield. Flag is down all the way back at the 20-yard line, so that's going to bring things back. Saw out of the corner of my eye when the St. Albert player is getting flipped. So I'm assuming it was a block in the back.
Block in the back's going to be the call against Cowboys.
I cannot tell you who that was on, but it's going to push that great Cowboy return all the way back. And they'll have to take over from what looks to be maybe the 14-yard
Cowboys
line.
will take over first and 10 from their own 15-yard line.
And so the Cowboys have got to go 85 yards to the length of the field to get in the end zone. They got to repeat what St. Albert just did. St. Albert went 80 yards, excuse me. And there's a handoff there. That's going to end the quarter.
That'll be the end of the first
So the
quarter.
handoff to Ballin gets the Cowboys about a yard, maybe 2. And so that concludes your first quarter of action. St. Albert leads this thing 7-0. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back. And so welcome back, folks. If you're just tuning in, we start in the second quarter here with Jeremiah Ballin carry that's going to cut upfield and get about 4, 5, 6 yards maybe. Bring up a third and manageable for the Cowboys. And as I just said, if you're just tuning in, I'm Kellen Rose commentating tonight's game between the St. Albert Falcons and your home Sidney Cowboys on senior night. The home finale here for Sidney, looking to get another win in that win column. And it looked like that they were going to get off to a great start offensively. The defense did, as they got a stop at midfield, a forced fumble, which then resulted in the offense going 40 yards in the air to Braden Godfrey, set him up with a 1st and goal. But they weren't able to capitalize on 4 downs. Buttrey threw a pick in the back of the end zone on 4th down. And the handoff there to Ballin is going to be wrapped up by a handful of Falcons in the backfield. And that's going to bring up about a 4th and 4 or 5, and I think the punt team's coming out. And so as I was saying, St. Albert was able to drive down the length of the field 80 yards off of that ensuing interception. And they found their way in the end zone with their running back Gubbles, who Sidney looked like they had him stopped. They had a 3rd and 14 down here in near the red zone, and they ran a little option play towards the far side of your screen, pitched it off to Gubbles. Marshall did, the quarterback for the Falcons, and they were able to pick up the 1st down, which resulted 2 plays later. And we got a high snap, and Ward's gonna have to get on it, which results in a safety. So a disaster, just a really, really, really tough turn of events there for the Cowboys. High snap. And Ward's just gonna have to get on it. That results in a safety. So Sidney will punt again, but this time St. Albert's gonna have 2 extra points. So the snap was high, out of the reach of Ward. Nothing he could have done there. And so Sidney will punt it here. I think it's just going to be a straight up, trying to figure out how the ball's going to be kicked off here. I know in college that they punt it, actually, just like a normal punt. But looks to be here in high school football, Ward is going to kick it off. So just a normal kickoff here. Couldn't tell you. I consider myself fairly knowledgeable at football, but I don't know everything. And so it's going to be a low squib kick there that gets past the up man, goes to the back return man, who's Gubbles, and he's going to bounce it right. And he's got some room to work with. He's going to end up on Cowboy territory. And so with 10:21 left, St. Albert leads 9-0, and now they've got the ball once again in Cowboy territory off of the kickoff.
Number 20, Aiden Stendhal on the tackle for the Cowboys.
Freshman Aiden Stensel believed to be the one there on the tackle for the Cowboys. And so from about the 38-yard line, St. Albert is looking to get on the board once again and make this thing a possible 3-possession game. That'd require a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, which I'm assuming if you play the metrics that's what you would do if you scored a touchdown here. And so there's the play action for Marshall. He's looking deep, going over, pass is intended there on the wide side of the field. And Luke Weddingale was the one who was targeted there. And Ballin, who is much shorter, did a really, really nice job there to break up the pass, cause an incompletion. There was a lot of hand fighting both ways, so I think it was a good job by the referees not to call anything. And you see that all the time in the NFL and such. Big plays given up just off of pass interference calls because they just throw it up and hope that the corner grabs him. So here's Marshall. Coming in motion is Helton. He gets a snap. It's going to be a handoff to Gubbles there. And he's going to cut it upfield. He's got room to work with. He's going to have a first down and more inside the Cowboy 25. And so if you just saw there on your screen, you saw number 5, John Helton, come in motion there. And he just stopped and was stutter stepping, waiting for the snap. And that was because he acted as a lead blocker there to come around the edge there for St. Albert. And Gubbles did a nice job having good field vision, cutting it up the field as a running back should, getting the first down and more. So with 9 minutes left, St. Albert is creeping to Sidney's red zone. With another first down, they'll be in there. 2 receivers right, I formation here for Marshall. And it's going to be a pitch. And Helton's going to act as the lead blocker again, but Gubbles decides to cut it upfield. He's going to run into the Cowboy back in there. And they bring him down, not before they cut the distance of 10.5, which will bring up a 2nd and 5. And so Marshall's got it in another I formation. It's going to be a handoff to Gubbles. Once again, he has the hot hand. And he's brought down by Gottfried. I think he's going to be short of the line to gain. I take that back. He is not short of the line to gain. He's going to be a first down. Move the chains for St. Albert, which means they are now in the Cowboy red zone for the 2nd time tonight, and the time they did that before, they were able to capitalize and score. So Sidney not hoping for those events to happen again, but St. Albert is 15 yards away of doing such. I formation, 2 receivers left. Receivers are Helton and Weddingle. And the play is blown dead. Was going to be a handoff there to Gubbles, but it's going to be offsides. So that pushes it to 1st and 5 now. And now I take that 15 yards that I just said St. Albert needs to get, and you cut it into a 3rd. So now it's 10 yards. Cut a 3rd off, excuse me. So here is a single back formation. Play is blown dead.
Timeout called by the Falcons.
And so timeout is called by St. Albert.
Once again, a reminder to senior parents, if you could please meet in the west end zone.
So your score is 0-9 with 7:48 left. We'll get a timeout by St. Albert. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back.
Just before halftime, Nebraska leads Rutgers 13-0.
And so here we are. Coming out of timeout. Play action. It's going to be a bootleg there for Marshall. He looks and fires. And that, I believe, was Helton, who made the extra effort. I thought he was short, but I think he made the extra effort to climb into the end zone. He did such. So that means touchdown, St. Albert's. And so now Sidney trails 15-0 with 7:40 left. And St. Albert is going to elect to take the extra point here. A little surprised by the call. Yes, that does make it so Sidney's got to get both 2-point conversions to tie this game if the extra point is good. And that one looked a lot better than the last one. Good snap and hold, and the kick was up and good. Could have made that from a couple more yards back at least. So 16-0 now. So Sidney has found themselves in a hole after what looked like to be they were going to get out to a hot start. And now they find themselves down 16-0, and we'll see when and if the perseverance is going to come in here for the Cowboys. So the bad thing is for the Cowboys is that you're down 16, obviously. But the good thing is that there's still plenty of time left. 8 minutes left in the second quarter, not even halfway through the second quarter. So we've still got 2.5 more quarters of football to play, but it's going to be very crucial here for Sidney not to let this deficit get any more before half. And obviously, preferably, you're going to want to get it cut in half at least. So Sidney needs 2 scores along with two-point conversions to get this thing tied 16-16. The only time the Cowboys have had a successful drive thus far is when they got the forced fumble and found themselves at midfield. Only had 50 yards to go, and that's got all the way down to about the 10-yard line, but weren't able to capitalize. And so here we are with the kickoff. And it's a good kick. It's going to go to the return man, Ballin. Ballin had a good return last time, but it was prevented there by a penalty. He's not going to have such a good return this time. And he's going to be brought down. Tackle made there by number 55, a 6-foot senior, Cale Hobbs.
Cowboys will take over first and 10 from their own 30-yard line.
And so from the 30-yard line, Andreas Buttry and the Cowboys in desperate need to get something rolling here. Give you some sort of momentum heading into half. And a score would obviously do such. So there's Buttry. You got 3 backs back there. It's going to be a handoff to Ballin. And he's going to be stopped at the line of scrimmage. Nothing available there.
Ballin on the carry, no gain on the play.
So I'm not sure if we have any Husker fans listening. I am one personally. But Nebraska plays tonight instead of Saturday, as we've got a timeout here by Sidney. And Nebraska is going against the Rutgers in Scarletttown, and they find themselves trailing 13-0 with about a minute to go before halftime. Some other upcoming athletic events here for Sidney. Tomorrow morning at 8:45, there's a JV volleyball tournament, and that is at Nebraska City, the Lords. And then October 10th, there's JV football at Clarinda. That starts at 6 o'clock. The volleyball tournament tomorrow morning in Nebraska City starts at 8:45. And then following that, and following the 10th on the 11th, junior high football takes on Falls City, 4 o'clock. That is in Sidney. Junior high volleyball the same day will take on Griswold. And that's at 4 o'clock as well, but that is in Griswold. And the junior high volleyball is followed by JV and varsity volleyball, so that is all 3 volleyballs are going to be taking place there in Griswold on the 11th. And the Cowgirls, for volleyball's sake, are off to have had a really, really good season thus far. and repeated as corner conference champions, taking down East Mills in 5 sets. That happened not this Thursday, but the Thursday before. They won that set 5 in the thriller, 15-13. So Sidney, I believe, only has 5 losses on the year for volleyball. There's going to be a pitch to Ballon. He's going to have a block, but nothing after that. So that just gives him enough time to cut it upfield for just a yard or two. And that brings up will be a 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6.
Game about 3 on the play.
And so 2 days following that volleyball event, the 13th, there's cross country at Mount Air. That is at 4:30. And then the capper for the next week of athletic events is Sidney, who will take on MMRCU next Friday. The football team will have to travel there, and that starts at 7 o'clock. And as I just said, it is at MMRCU. Excuse me, MMCRU.
Lennon, attack that quicker! Jackson, attack that quicker!
And so here we are out of the timeout, 3rd and 7, 6:50 left in the first half of football. Buttrey's got an I formation. Walls is coming. It's going to be a halfback pass, intended, way underthrown, and picked off. So the trick play for the Cowboys backfires, and the guy who's about to take the snap for St. Albert is the one who picked it off. Number 13 on defense, the secondary player, but on offense, the quarterback, Owen Marshall. And so the pass was intended there for Gottfried, but it was way underthrown, out of bounds, and then Marshall's just going to walk it out of bounds. And so now St. Albert, from the Cowboy 45 with 6:44 left, is looking to put together another drive to make this a 3-score game. So we've got trips left. I formation. It's probably going to be a run towards the towards the wide receivers. It is. And Ward had him in the backfield, but he's not able to make the tackle. Nice cut there by Gubbles, and that would have been a loss on the play. Is going to result in a gain. Almost a 10-yard gain, but it's going to be a 9-yard gain. 2nd and 1 now. And so here we go. Single back, trips left. Coming in motion is Helton, who will act as the lead blocker. We've seen that a lot tonight. Gubbles shakes one. Met by a pair of Cowboys. Gets the first down, and give credit to where credit is due. Number 2, Sam Gubbles, is having himself a game tonight. I don't keep stats up here, but I'm sure he's got more than more than 70 all-purpose yards here in the first half. And he's just running hard, and it's making the Cowboys struggle defensively. They're having a tough time tackling him. He's shaking off tackles, and sometimes the defenders aren't even touching him because he's so agile and can move left to right. So I formation here. Gubbles gets the handoff once again. He's going to break it, fall forward for a couple yards. We're going to call the tackle awarded to Nick Peters there, number 78, and assisted by a couple other Cowboys. I think Godfrey might have been one of them. So a 4-yard gain, 2nd and 6. And looking at that play there, that didn't look like one of the Gubbles' best runs of the night. But if you're getting 4 yards of crack, that's going to be very, 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 very beneficial there for the St. Albert Falcons. It's been beneficial in the first half, but they can carry that over, and the Cowboys are going to have a really, really, really tough time getting back into this game. So a pitch out to Gubbles. He's going to have the first down, I believe. Peters on the tackle again. And he's actually going to be short, maybe a yard or a half a yard.
Bring a 3rd down short.
So Sidney has got to get something brewing here. I would expect a blitz, some heavy pressure coming. They know they're going to run the ball. I mean, I guess this would be the time to go play action, but St. Albert in a good spot here. Just needs a yard, and they got 2 plays to do such. Here it is, I formation. They go on 2. It's a handoff to Gubbles. He's got the first down and more. He's cutting it upfield, and he's going to be inside the red zone. 1st and goal, St. Albert.
Personal foul's going to be the call against the Cowboys.
And so the the officials there conferring, and I was wondering what the delay was before they got the chains moved and everything. But the call there was personal foul on the Cowboys. I'm assuming some sort of a sportsmanlike conduct, but I don't know I'm not sure who it was on. Get it under center is. Oh, and what a play there. And that's going to be Gubbles taking it in for the touchdown. You saw a fake fullback dive, halfback flip. I've ran that play in Madden a time or two, and that gave Gubbles space to work with, and he was in there with nobody to touch him. So a nice play there. Good play call there from St. Albert. 22-0 is your score. And the extra point try here by Kyle Irwin, the freshman, is up, and it's another good kick, and it's in. So Sidney is now down 23-0. A drastic turn of events following that interception in the end zone early on, and Sidney has just not been able to do anything offensively or defensively since then. And this is now do or die time for Sidney. Sidney will receive the ball in the second half. So if Sidney can drive down the field here in 3 minutes and get a score, they'll go into half with the opportunity to make it a one-possession game if they can score on back-to-back drives here. So this game's not over yet, folks. That's not even me just being optimistic as a Cowboy fan myself. But there's plenty of time left. But Sidney has got to show more than what they've shown thus far. And they've got to get some sort of consistent offense brewing.
8 for the Cowboys to receive.
And so Hensley's on the return there, and it's going to be a good return there for Sidney. He's going to be stopped.
Tackle made by number 8, Luke Westengale for the Falcons.
Watch the jump, White! Watch the jump!
Cowboys take over 1st and 10 from their own 36-yard line.
And so the Cowboys have got it here. First and 10 from Sidney's 36. Buttrey's got it, straight drop. He fires across the middle, intended for Gottfried, and I'm not sure how that wasn't a penalty there.
Number 8, Westengale there defensively for the Falcons.
And so I actually could be wrong there. I'm not sure what the official ruling on a play like that would be. The problem I had with his, I could be wrong, but it looked like he led with his helmet, and his helmet went right into the lower back of Gottfried. And so Sidney's got a timeout here.
Timeout called by the Cowboys.
And I guess you do have 3 minutes, but I would think you kind of want to save those timeouts if you're trying to go down the length of the field. But if the Cowboys can obviously do something coming out of the timeout here, it won't mean anything. Buttrey had his straight drop, and he almost slipped and fell. He was able to get the ball off, which was fortunate enough for Sidney. And Godfrey took a tough hit there. And if it was just a little lower of a trajectory on that pass, Godfrey, I'm sure, would have came down with it. And so here's Sidney has it. Buttrey, he's got a straight drop back. It's going to be a screen pass. Oh, it's picked off. It is picked off, and it's going to be a return for 6. I think it was Cale Hobbs there. Jumped the ball on the screen pass, and it was just a bad read there by Buttrey. That one you want to put in the dirt there.
Number 55, Cale Hobbs.
I believe Ladarius Albright was quarterback there, actually, instead of Andreas Buttrey. But that's just a read that you can't make in a situation like this. The extra point is up and good. And if Sidney had any life left, that's going to take it out of it. And they're going to need something more than a spark to get back into this game now. Hobbs was there. Wasn't even really broken on the route or anything. He was just standing there, and they were ready for the screen pass. And it was just an unfortunate turn of events there for Sidney. So Hensley's going to be on the return there for the Cowboys. And he's going to be brought down, and now Sidney faces about 70 yards of the field to go, and they need to get a score. Going into the half down 30 is not going to be pleasant at all. Neither's being down 22 or 23, but it's definitely better than what you got now. And so here's a pass there. And Albright is going to roll right. Pass is intended there for number 24, Colt Payne. Good job by him being able to evade the pressure, but couldn't do much after that. So we're 2:30 left.
Nothing behind you, Anderson.
Albright dropping back the pass. He's looking. He's going to fire into double coverage, but intended for Van Rennen. And no, actually wasn't a bad ball there. The decision wasn't the best, but the ball placement on it was fairly good. Gave Van Rennen actually a catchable ball. He just wasn't able to complete the pass. So now the Cowboys face a 3rd and 10. So here's Albright. Trips left. He's got it in a pistol set. Coming in motion is Ballin. He gets the snap. He's going to roll. Look for Ballin. It's a screen pass. Pass is caught, but he's met right there. Screenplay was not able to be developed. The blockers, according to the running back, were just not in sync and not close to each other. So Ballin just had someone on him just like it was man coverage, which it was. And Ward's going to be back to punt it. 2 minutes left now. The low snap, but Ward's able to get it up and kick it. And it's going to roll all the way back to the St. Albert 39-yard line. And with 1:30, St. Albert's going to be looking to tack on some more points here. Now, I would assume that you're going to stay conservative here if you're St. Albert. Last thing you want to do is throw a pick or something like that. I mean, in fairness, I guess the ground game has been superior. It got him 30 points, so I don't even know why you wouldn't run the ball. Even if you are in the 2-minute drill, the running game is getting you like 10, 15 yards a pop at this rate. So Cowboys having personnel problems. And so it's going to be a screen pass over there to Helton, I believe. And so the clock is ticking. He got about a gain of 9, going to bring up a 2nd and 1. And by the time the snap gets off, we're going to be around the 1-minute mark. St. Albert does have it at midfield, and I'm not sure how many timeouts they do have. I think maybe 2. 2 timeouts sounds about right. I know they took one down there in the red zone earlier in a possession. Pistol set there. It's going to be a speed option once again. He decides to keep it. This time he's going to cut it upfield. Marshall does. And he's going to be brought down at about the Cowboy 42, 43 yard line. Clock is running. No, it is not anymore. We got their second charge timeout. I'm going to go out on a limb and say they got 2 timeouts left, now 1. So the second charge timeout there by St. Albert blows this thing dead at 55.3 seconds. And from the Cowboy 42, 43 yard line, St. Albert is looking to make this thing even bigger of a margin than it is now. So don't go anywhere, folks. We still got 55 seconds left in the first half. We'll be back shortly. And so here we are, 55.3 seconds left. St. Albert's got the ball. Pistol set there for Marshall. He's going to roll right. He's looking at a guy who runs down the seam, fades out to the outside. That's Helton, and he's off to the races. Down into the end zone. Touchdown, St. Albert's. Pistol said he had 2 receivers right. The slot guy ran, faded out, and he was in. Took him a little bit of yards after the catch to get there, but he did such. And St. Albert is now leading 36-0 with 47.6 seconds left in the first half. The extra point try will be attempted there by Irwin. He has converted. He's 100% thus far on the extra points tonight. He'll look to keep that streak alive. And there's a snap. Hold. Kick is up. And it is good once again. So the extra point is converted, which makes this score 37-0 in the second quarter with 47.6 seconds left. So the personnel change at quarterback there for Sidney. I think the ideology behind that was just that Ladarius Albright, who's a sophomore as well, is just better in the throwing game, but they weren't able to get anything going there on that previous drive. And so Irwin, who is the extra point kicker for the Falcons, is off to kick it off. And the kick is up, and it's going to be over to Hensley. Hensley grabs it, and he's going to take off down the middle of the field, look to cut it up. He will. Hensley's got some room to work with. And he's going to cut back up the field once again, get past midfield, and be brought down at the 45-yard line. Clock should stop. And the clock ran for an extra 8 seconds there.
Anderson, be ready. Nothing deep, nothing cheap.
So 28 seconds left. Great return there by Hensley. So we're going to see if the Cowboys can get their first points on the board here. They've got 28.9 seconds left to do such. I think they might have one timeout left. But they've got to go now. They've got 28 seconds left from midfield. Single back there for Albright. Wallace motions in the backfield. It's going to be, we saw this trick play before. Wallace, halfback pass. He looks, he fires towards Godfrey. It's going to be overthrown and incomplete.
Ball's incomplete. Timeout again called by the Cowboys.
So we've got 10.6 seconds left here for Sidney. And they're going to look to take another shot. Saw that halfback toss, which resulted in a throw there by Wallace. Saw it earlier, it was picked off before, and that time he had Godfrey again, but he just overthrew it just a little. They did have double coverage on him. St. Albert, I would like to think, knows that the ball is going to be intended for Godfrey. Godfrey, the big frame sophomore receiver for the Cowboys. So Sidney now has 10.6 seconds left from the 46-yard line. Albright's got the snap again.
Don't let him off clean. You gotta sink. You gotta sink.
He gets it. He's dropping back. He's going to roll left, and he's going to be sacked. And that's going to end the first half of things with the Cowboys. Sidney's going to go into the half down 37-0, and they've got more than a lot of work to do to even make this thing competitive. That's where we'll leave you off with until halftime. And I would assume that the half is going to be about 15 or 20 minutes. It'll be on your screen how long the timer is. But until then, stay tuned, go to the bathroom if you need to, and come back because we still got another half of football to play. Sidney, St. Albert, 15 minutes. We'll be back. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Sidney. As we kick the second half of football off between your Sidney Cowboys and the St. Albert's Falcons. If you're just tuning in, I'm Kellen Rose commentating tonight's game. And Sidney has find themselves in a tough hole here, down 37 points at half. And Andreas Buttry is going to have the snap under center with Jeremiah Ballin as the back. It's going to be a rollout right. He's going to cut it upfield, but not find much. So that's going to pick up maybe a yard, if that. Bring up a 2nd and 9 for the Cowboys, and Buttry's going to come back to get the call there from Coach Thompson on the sideline. And Sidney has to get something going out of this. Try to just claw back at this thing one possession at a time. It's going to be a pitch to Ballin. He's got some speed. He rolls up. He's going to cut it right. Makes a lot of people miss. Jeremiah Ballin getting a couple yards on that. The problem with that is that he is making a lot of guys miss, but there's just so many guys that are meeting him at the line of scrimmage. It's tough for him. And I'm not sure what the call was there on Sidney. I think if it's a false start, the play should have been blown dead before. Well, nonetheless, whatever the call was, it was going to be a 5-yard penalty, but that penalty was declined as they only picked up about another yard or two. Because if they accept the penalty, that means it has to be a replay of down. So them electing, St. Albert that is, St. Albert electing to decline the penalty brings up a 3rd and 8 now for Sidney. We got pistol set here for Buttry. We got trips right. Godfrey's wide left. The safety shading over. And it's going to be over to Ballin. He's going to be met and just driven back, and there's nowhere to go there.
Tackle made by number 53, Brendan McCall for the Falcons.
And so Sidney's going to bring out the punt team. Elliott Ward will be the one to punt. And the man whose name I've said a lot tonight is going to be back to return things here for St. Albert. And number 2, Sam Gubbles, is going to elect not to touch the ball. And it's going to be brought down there. It'll be spotted at about the 41-yard line. And so out comes number 13, Owen Marshall, on the St. Albert offense, who had a good first half. And that pass is going to be intended there.
Pass is intended for number 31.
For number 31, Matthew Holliday. But the ball is overthrown. So a little smoke screen to him is going to be overthrown. Incomplete. 2nd and 10 from the 41. And there's Marshall. It's going to be a power handoff there to Gubbles, and he's going to be brought down. Not before he gets the first down, though. So you saw the man come in motion there. That made it so there was no defensive back there on the outside already. So people had to move to the ball. And the power play was cut outside there by Gubbles, and he extended the play all the way to make it a first down and put it in Cowboy territory at the 46-yard line. So we've got another I formation here for Marshall. We've seen the same formations over and over, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They go on two. It's a handoff to Gubbles. Once again, he's going to head towards the Cowboy sideline, and he's going to pick up about 6 yards. Number 5, John Helton, the senior, came back in motion as a receiver in the backfield, wrapping around. I think that was just used as a diversion. Nothing was ever playing there for him. So Marshall's got it. It's going to be a handoff there.
Bush on the carry, tackle made by number 78. Peters.
Number 78 there, Nick Peters, who's hopeful to play collegiate football, and one of the standout players here on this Cowboy team. Excellent presence inside on the defensive line, and a pulling guard as well on offense. And Peters is out there a lot. Special teams, he does it all. But you obviously do see that with small town schools around here. And it's going to be a fullback dive. Mason Doval tripped him up.
Holiday on the carry, Doval on the tackle for the Cowboys.
I believe it was Holiday there getting the carry. And St. Albert using the two-back a lot tonight. We've seen him come up clutch on 4th down conversions on 4th and short. And just, even if it's 1st and 10, give it the ball to him. If he's going to get 4 or 5 yards of crack, why not? Might be unorthodox to the normal standardized offense where you give it to your 3-back and such, but and it's going to be a run there. And he's brought down there by what looked to be Wallace, excuse me. And we're now approaching the 5-minute mark here in the third quarter. Due to the fact that being a 35-point or more differential, it's a 37-point differential between St. Albert and Sidney. That causes the clock to stay running. So if you're wondering why it's not being stopped on out of bounds, dead balls and such, that is the reasoning. So if Sidney could get a stop here, get another score, that would cause the clock stoppage rule to go away and back into effect as it normally would be. So there's Marshall. He's got it. Single back. He gets a snap. It's going to be a handoff to Gubbles once again, and he just powers through all the men right there. Van Rennen was the one to eventually bring him down, not before he gets some more yardage, though. That's going to bring up a 3rd and short.
Going to bring up 3rd down and 1.
Wouldn't be surprised they went to the 2-back again. They're not going to do that. They're going to go out to Helton, who's the running back, and he's breaking free, getting loose inside the 10. And St. Albert's going to have it 1st and goal now. Senzel was the one to eventually bring him down, but not before he gets inside the 10-yard line, cracks open the red zone, and makes it a 1st and goal for St. Albert. So Marshall, once again, back at quarterback. He's going to hand it off to
Bush on the carry, met right away by number 78, Nick Peters for the Cowboys.
Bush there on the carry. Nick Peters was the one to bring him down.
Personal foul face mask will be the call against the Cowboys.
And personal foul face mask is the call against the Cowboys. And Nick Peters is going to be the one to pick up the penalty there. Personal foul face mask. So the tackle made there is going to be negated. Automatic first down, and I believe that's half the distance to the goal, as you cannot go 15 yards. 15 yards would result it being in the end zone, and that is not, cannot score off of a penalty, except for if you're in your own end zone offensively and the offensive lineman holds in the end zone, that would result in a safety, but not the case here. St. Albert's scoring, not backed up, and Marshall's going to take it off of the direct, no direct handoff whatsoever. Gets a snap, rolls out, follows his blocker, and walks into the end zone. Touchdown, St. Albert. And so Marshall and St. Albert, they find the end zone. And that's going to be the 8th touchdown of the night for St. Albert. And the extra point is up, and it is no good.
The extra point attempt is no good.
Not sure if it was blocked, but either way it was right. And so Sidney will take over off of the kickoff. Down 43-0 with 2:30 left in the third quarter. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And so St. Albert is to kick it off. And it's back, and it's going to take it a hop before it reaches Hensley. Hensley had a good return earlier tonight. We'll see if he can do it again. He's going to break a tackle, cut it left. He's got room to work with. Looking for a block, but there's nobody else in front of him. All of his blockers are behind him because he got past him. Another good return there by Hensley. Special teams, or excuse me, kick return in there for the Cowboys hasn't been too bad tonight. Giving them good field position, but they just got to be able to capitalize. Sidney's still looking to find the scoreboard here. And they've got decent field position. We'll see if they can do it this time. Buttry's back at quarterback. And you see Godfried trailing out there trotting. So single back here for Buttry. He's got Ballin as the one running back. It's going to be dropped back. And excuse me, it's a delayed handoff there to Ballin. And Ballin's going to pick up about 8-9 yards. So a good play call there and a good run there.
By number 72, Sam Raymond for the Falcons.
And that was designed, obviously. You saw Buttry taking his drop. And that's to make the defense think you're passing, obviously. But the delay of the handoff works in the Cowboys' favor and gives them 8 yards to bring up a 2nd and 2. And so it's going to be a fullback dive there.
Wallace on the carry.
To Chase Wallace, the senior, and he's going to move the chains for the Cowboys and pick up a first down.
Be good enough for Cowboys first down.
Go get him, Riker! Play downhill, Riker!
So here's Buttrey. It's going to be another handoff. And this time it's going to Van Rinnen. He's got room to work with. He's going to pick up a first down. So we go back-to-back fullback dive here. One to Wallace, who picks up the first down, moves the chains, and Van Rinnen's going to make it 10-plus yards and move the chains himself. So consecutive first downs puts the Cowboys closer to the red zone of St. Albert's, and they're going to have it spotted at about the 33, 34-yard line of St. Albert's. And we've got one more play left in us before the third quarter ends. Buttrey goes to get the snap. He does, and it's going to be a handoff there to Ward. Ward's going to make some room.
Ball carried by Ward.
And puts the shoulder down. He's going to land at about the 29-yard line, and that's how the third quarter concludes. Sidney trailing 43-0, but looking to make a drive and get on the scoreboard.
That'll be the end of the third quarter.
And that's the end of the third quarter, folks. Still got one more quarter of Cowboy football to go on senior night. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back.
Wallace on the carry.
And so we welcome you back here in Cowboy Town. Coming out of the gates of the fourth quarter, Chase Wallace is going to take it all the way down inside the St. Albert 10, I believe. There's a penalty flag down. And this big gain that Sidney just got, I think, is going to be just absolutely depleted by a penalty. I think it might be an unsportsmanlike. And so I think unsportsmanlike conduct was the call there for the Cowboys, and that's just an absolute momentum killer. Sidney was driving, had a good run, it was a good play design, and it just gets called back by just poor decisions upon the Cowboys. And so Sidney's now got it, which would have been 1st and 10 to 1st and 25. Buttrey's got the snap. They're running a little wishbone here. And coming in motion is Ballin. He's coming across hot. And it's going to be A handoff to Hensley. He's going to break it outside. He's got some room to work with. He's going to get back and go down. And I think St. Albert's sideline was calling for a late hit there on Nick Peters. But I could have been wrong, but from what I saw, he was just blocking him, maybe a little too late. But nonetheless, nothing will be called. Sidney's going to have it now. Second and, excuse me, I think 1st and 10, actually. So a big-time run there by Hensley. Puts the Cowboys back into the red zone. And 2nd and 10 is where they sit. 15-yard gain there from Hensley. I formation. Ballin's going to come in motion, so there'll be no receivers left. I'd assume they go left with it. It's going to be an empty bootleg there for Buttrey. He's got the lead blocker. That's Peters. And Peters gives him the block that he needs. He cuts it upfield. Good decision there by Buttrey, but I think he's going to be stopped just at the half-yard line, maybe the 1. Oh, there's a flag down, though. This is probably going to be coming back because it's in the backfield of Sidney. We'll see what the call is. And the call is blocking the back there on the Cowboys. So just another drive killer. And as Sidney, you're obviously at the point where you're just playing for pride, but you're still trying to score, obviously. And just ill-advised penalties like that is what you don't want. And so I'm not sure if we had a timeout called or another one. And so we've got a dead ball here, folks. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. So we had 2 penalties?
No, I think it was just one.
I thought they called blocking the back and then.
No, they called personal foul. I don't know. I'm just trying to keep this going the right direction.
Right.
Miss a lot of live footage.
This has to be competitive. And the one game that was close we had against Wayne was 1-2 at the live stream network. Just so excited. Football's my favorite sport to commentate. I enjoy it. I do everything with football. I actually like volleyball surprisingly. Volleyball's kind of fun.
It's a big time thing around here too, so a lot of fans are like gets into it.
Yeah. For volleyball, we have it at the gym, and I'm up in the mezzanine, and they got like a wireless microphone, so I actually get to announce the starting lineups and they put back on the headset. It's pretty cool. And so Sidney had it as we welcome you back here with just at about the 10-minute mark. Sidney trailing 43-0. Play is blown dead, and another penalty against Sidney. And I believe false start was the call there. And so the scoreboard is telling you 3rd and 21. I don't operate the scoreboard. I just call the game. But from what I see, the chains is telling me it's saying that's 1st down. So I think it is 1st down, but I can't be definitive on that. Yeah, I think so. So Buttrey's got it. He's going to roll up, find Ballin on the wheel route, and that should be a pass interference call, and it will.
Pass is intended for Ballin. There is a flag on the play.
They threw it in the direction of him, and it was not going to be caught either way. But the St. Albert's defender, what you did wrong there is you didn't turn around to the ball. If you're just showing your hands, that's not enough. if you make contact with him. You see that in the NFL a lot. They've got to be able to turn around and look and show that they're trying to play the ball and not play the receiver. And that's what they look for in all levels of football. So instead of it being a spot foul, which it isn't in high school, it is in the pros, but in college and high school, it's going to be a 15-yard penalty, I believe. And I'm not sure if that's an automatic result or first down or just resulted in a first down. Either way, it is first down, though. Cowboys got the wishbone going on once again, and it's going to be a handoff there to Wallace. He's cutting it outside, breaking a tackle, cutting it upfield, and he is in. Touchdown, Cowboys. Chase Wallace on the run. Breaking off a tackle, cutting it upfield. He had the blocker to his left, and he falls into the end zone. Touchdown, Sidney. And so I believe Sidney's going to go for 2 here. 9:26 left in the fourth. And the 2-point conversion is good. Colt Payne on the reception there as Buttry made the throw.
Penalty be declined. 2-point conversion is good.
There was a flag down, but it was on the defense, so therefore it'll be declined. And the 2-point conversion is good. And Sidney, after a drive that was halted by penalties not once, but not even twice, but 3 times, was able to still find the end zone. And now they trail 8-43 with 9:26 left. And so here is Sidney. We'll see if they go for the onside kick here or not. Holtman is back to kick. And it is an onside kick. And it's going to be fielded nicely there. That is number 31.
Onside kick is recovered by number 31, Holiday.
And that is Matthew Holiday on the recovery. Ball was teed normally, but the Cowboys still elected to go for the onside. Something that I have seen, I was watching an NFL game last week, and for the onside kick, they actually laid the ball down flat. Just flat on the ground like it is now, but except it was pointed and the ends of the ball were on both on the line. And they tried it like that, but teams are just trying to just make it so the ball is just harder, and it takes wicket or bounces, I guess you could say. And onside kicks, all they are most of the time is just chance, because whatever hands team you got out there, they're obviously going to be able to field the ball, but if the ball takes a wrong bounce, you never know. It could be coming at you left, go right over your head. Joys of football. Here comes Marshall, I formation. Or excuse me, not Marshall. We got a new quarterback in here, number 17, Cole Pickney. Tackle made by Peters and Albright there, but not before the back gets 5 yards, cuts the distance in half, and makes it a 2nd and 5 as we now hit the 9-minute mark in the fourth quarter. As I've mentioned before, but I'll say it one more time, your seniors for tonight, as it is senior night, are Jeremiah Ballin, Lincoln Osborne, Nicholas Peters, Kurt Speed, and Chase Walls, along with Taylor McPhail, who was not able to play and is out for the rest of the season due to a foot injury he suffered earlier in the year against Earlham. And on the run there is number 24, Kyler Irwin, and he's going to be all the way down to the 10-yard line about. Broke free, and there was just room to run, and he had a lot of it, and he got a lot of it. And so St. Albert with 2 plays on the drive is now into the red zone with 8 minutes left, looking to score again. And so I don't think he's inside the 10-yard line because the chain gain's still moving. So they are saying the ball spot on the 11. So it's 1st and 10 from the 11. And Peckney's got the snap. He's going to hand it back off to Irwin. Reward the man for getting the big gain, and now he's going to be rewarded with a touchdown. Touchdown, St. Albert. Kyle Irwin, an 11-yard run and an extra point away, and St. Albert has hit the 50-point mark in this football game. And so something that's been very prevalent for St. Albert tonight, which is the run game. And throwing the football is obviously riskier than running the ball. And if you can run the ball effectively, there's no reason to shy away from such, and they've just done that tonight. And so the holder is the quarterback, Peckney. The kick is up and good. Snap was good, hold was good, and the kick was good.
Extra point attempt is good. Number 22, Elena Rosalinek on the extra point attempt.
And so St. Albert leading 50-8. Will kick this thing off to Sidney once again. Sidney will get possession of the ball with 7:43 left in the fourth quarter. And Sidney's probably got one more offensive drive in him before this ball game is over.
Go get him, Riker! Go get him!
And so the kick is underway. And it's going to be fielded there by Ballin. And there goes Ballin. He's off to the races. He's got one man to beat. He's going to cut upfield, go across the field. And there he goes, 10-5. Touchdown, Sidney. Jeremiah Ballin making things happen. And unfortunately, I see a penalty flag down.
My correction, there is a flag on the play.
And just a killer there for the Cowboys. The flag was down at about the 50-yard line. We've got an injured player down for St. Albert. The officials picked the flag up. Whether that is that they're not going to decide to call block in the back, which I'm assuming what it would be, or they're just picking it up because they obviously have to pick it up. Now there was a penalty flag, but it actually was on St. Albert. Now I couldn't tell you what it was from. So the call or the touchdown will stand for Ballon. He's got it. But we've got an injured player down for St. Albert. So while he's being attended to, we'll step aside for just a second. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Took the lead. And so the extra point by Altman is up, and it is good. It hits the bottom of the upright and falls in. It was close to being off, but it barely fell in. And so Sidney is now trailing 15-50. And they'll have the chance to get another onside kick here. And so Sidney will kick things off here. Ward will be the one to kick it off. And so here's Ward to kick it off. And he is going to kick it back to the return man. And he's going to take it upfield and be stopped at about what appears to be the 35-yard line. Or if I said 35, I meant 25. My apologies. But from the 25-yard line, it'll be 1st and 10 for St. Albert's once again. That rhymed. And so Peckney will have it under center again. It's I formation, trips right. It's going to be a handoff there. And Mason Doval's there for the stop at the line of scrimmage.
Stop made by Doval for the Cowboys. Ball carried by Irwin.
Irwin was the one to get the carry. He's been the one getting the carries since about maybe the start of the fourth, a little bit later in the third. Sam Gubbles, the senior, 5'8", 185 pounds. But he was running like Jerome Bettis tonight, just running all over the Cowboys. Showing quickness, agility, speed, and everything in between. as there's a pitch out to Irwin. He's going to bounce it outside. One tackle missed, but that is brought down. Tate Mount was the one to bring him down there. So 2 good stops here at the line of scrimmage. They went from 1st and 10 to 2nd and 10 and 2nd and 10 to 3rd and 10, and both of those plays were runs. So we're reaching 6 minutes now in the 4th quarter, and St. Albert's might be looking to punt here if they can't get something, and Sidney might have one more chance to get some more points on the board before this game's over. And so it's going to be a pass. It's intended there. And that's the Hesterkamp, and he's off to the races. Touchdown, St. Albert's. Just gave him a chance to go up and get it, and he did that. And it's a touchdown for St. Albert's. On a 3rd and long, they just heave it up. He goes up and gets it. Ball was thrown to by Aiden Stenzel, who was the defender on the play. And he made a break on the ball. He was in front of it, but he jumped up, mistimed the jump, and it went over him and right into the hands there of number 14, Parker Hesterkamp, and he went all the way to the end zone. And St. Albert now is an extra point away from putting 57 points on the board. Snap, hold, kick is up, and it is left. It'll be no good.
Irwin's extra point attempt is no good.
And so 56-15 is your score. And if St. Albert's smart, they're not going to kick it to Ballin again. So as I said, this is the last home game for Sidney, which means that as I'm a senior, my time for commentating football is going to be coming to an end here for the Cowboys. And I just want to say thank you to all the fans that have listened. I don't check to see how many people listen, but whether it's 150, 100, or 1,000, I'm still going to give my best effort forth and try to make it entertaining for you guys. And hopefully I've done that throughout my years of doing this, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity I've gotten. I'm hoping to make a living out of this, and I'm going to go to college to be a broadcaster. And hopefully I can come back to Sidney one day, and you'll know my name, not just because I went to Sidney, as there's a kick that's going to be out of bounds. So the penalty will be enforced on the kickoff return, and Sidney will have it from probably about midfield. But I can't thank you guys enough for and thanking Coach Lang down there, who we have a broadcasting class, and the principal, Mrs. Payne, just for the opportunity to be given to me. Whether there was or wasn't anyone else to do it, I was the one who got and chose to do all the sports. I enjoy doing it. It's my favorite thing to do. And like I said, I'm just extremely thankful for the opportunity I was given. But still got some more sports to go. I won't be done with football. I'll do a little bit of basketball when I'm not playing.
Play low, Narmy.
And the sponsors as well. We thank all of our sponsors who give us generous donations so we can have the equipment to even provide you with the live streams, like the headset I'm talking to you through, the camera that you're watching it through, and the programs that we have to pay for, so you can see that scoreboard on your screen as well. That's got the time with it and everything. None of that stuff's free, and it wouldn't be possible without the sponsorships. Godfrey's got it here in the Wildcat. It's going to be a power for him. He's got some room to work with. Cuts it upfield. He's got a first down and more. Flag is down. And the flag was down about where the impact happened between Godfrey and the defender, so we'll see what the call is. And the call was holding on the Cowboys there. That is number 51, Colton Wilson. So the play and the gain and the first down that Godfrey got will be taken away from him and brought back, and it'll be a first and 20, I believe. So Godfrey's got it again. They're running the same exact play for him. This time, instead of cutting it upfield, he's going to take it outside. He's going to get back to the sticks. And we'll see if he gets the first down or not. So there's Godfrey. He's got the snap. It's going to be a handoff to Hensley. Hensley's going to cut it upfield. And he's going to break some tackles. He's going to break some more tackles. He's got a first down and more. And he's going to be stopped. But not before he has a really, really impressive run and makes it inside the 30, maybe the 25. You know, make it a first down for Sidney. So now we're inside the 4-minute mark. So Godfrey's got it in the Wildcat again. They're going to stick with him doing that. And it's going to be a fake handoff. He's going to put his head down and run and make a hurdle. And he's going to have maybe another first down. And everybody's screaming fumble. Let's see who's on top of it. The Cowboys are going to retain possession of the football, I believe. So Godfrey's got it in the Wildcat again, first and goal. It's going to be a handoff to Hensley. He's going to cut upfield and walk into the end zone. Touchdown, Sidney. Michael Hensley, 6 yards on the carry. Goes into the end zone untouched, and pending the extra point, Sidney now trails 21-56 with 2:22 left in the fourth. And the 2-point conversion is good, but there's a flag on the play. There's 2 flags down. I'm not sure if they're the same flag. There's one over by the line judge, and there's one in the middle of the field.
offsetting penalties.
And so the penalties were offsetting, which calls for a replay of the down, I believe. So they'll retry the 2-point conversion.
I got it. Yep.
And Godfrey's got it's going to be a fake handoff. He's going to cut it upfield, and he's in. The 2-point conversion will be good. And
2-point conversion is good.
Sidney now trails 23-56.
This one yours? Yep, that one's yours. All that's theirs. Yep.
And so Sidney is going to kick things off with 2:22 and re-return. We'll step aside for just a second. We'll be right back. Almost sealed it. Rutgers got no timeouts.
Oh, nice.
4 minutes left.
14-13 still?
4 minutes left, third and 11. So we get this and they'll be big. Otherwise, we're punt. You gotta get a first down here, Casey. You got 2 picks. Nice. And so Ward will kick things off for the Cowboys with 2:22 left. And the kick is going to be an onside kick. And it's bobbled, but one of the up men will come up to the ball and fall on it.
Ward's kick's covered up by number 14, Helsterkamp.
So Hester Camp was the one to
Hey, nice job tonight.
fall on the ball. Thank you. You guys have a good one. Have a good night. Travel safe.
Thank you.
So 2:19 remains. And St. Albert here just got to probably get one first down and then take some knees here, and this ball game will be over. And so we are going to take some knees here. Peckney will be the one to kneel it. And as I've already said, thank you guys very, very much for the opportunity. Be moving on to college after this. Won't be doing any more football games for you guys. But it was never a job. I was never forced to do this or anything, or I never felt obligated to do it. I just wanted to do it. And the school giving me the opportunity to do such is one of the biggest blessings because, believe it or not, I wanted to be a cook 2 years ago. And Coach Lang, for one of the basketball games, said, hey, I think you know sports. You want to do the game? And I was like, heck yeah. Got up there. I was extremely nervous. I'll never forget. And then I was like, hey, this ain't too bad. I liked it. And I kept doing it and doing it and doing it. And I've done it for a solid 2-3 years now. And it's just been an ultimate blessing because hopefully I can turn this into what I want to do with my life. Gonna go to college for it at least, so hopefully it's not a bunch of wasted money. That would kind of suck. So St. Albert's gonna take one more knee here. And that's gonna bring up 4th down, which I don't think they're gonna be able to knee this thing out. We'll see what they do here. They might just drop back to punt it. So the Cowgirls are still going to have a home game in the postseason. Their regular season's been wrapped up at home. But the Cowgirls for volleyball still have one more home game. So we'll still have that to bring for you guys until we get to basketball season. And the clock winds all the way down to 2.9 seconds to where St. Albert has to take a timeout instead of taking a delay a game. There wasn't enough time between the play clock and the game clock to just let it wind down. So they're going to do that, and they'll probably just, I would assume, snap it, run back a yard or two, and just fall. That'll waste 3 seconds. So the Cowboys are going to look past this week and try to get prepared for MMCRU. MMCRU was the team they played on their home finale senior night last year, and it was a close game last year. But we'll see if the Cowboys can tack on another win before the season is over. St. Albert will get their second win of the season now, and they'll improve to 2-5. The Cowboys showed life, putting up 23 points, but it just wasn't enough because they got themselves in a 37-hole predicament at the half. So they actually did outscore St. Albert in the second half, 23-19. But as I said, it just wasn't enough because that first half was just disappointing for the Cowboys, and they just weren't able to get off their feet early. So here it is. Here's the snap. And it's going to be a pitch out to Irwin. That's the last play of the game, and he's just going to run it to the sideline. And that concludes your ball game. 56-23. Sidney falls to now 1-6 on the year, and they're looking to recuperate against MMCRU. Thank you all for listening one more time. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for the opportunity, and you guys just listening to me and being a community. We'll see you for the next volleyball game. Go Cowboys.